Before we begin this epic medieval story, make sure you subscribe to Boring Calm History, where we turn the past into powerful stories that feel alive. If you love history, legends, and dramatic tales from the medieval world, hit the subscribe button right now. All right, now let's begin the story. Eleanor of Aquitaine was not just a queen, she was a force, an unshakable, brilliant, and strategic woman who shaped the destiny of Europe. Her life was filled with love, politics, betrayal, war, and power struggles that shook entire kingdoms. Born into one of the wealthiest and most influential families of medieval Europe, Eleanor grew up knowing that she was destined for something far greater than an ordinary life. She was destined for the throne, and not just one throne. She would become queen of two powerful kingdoms, France and England, and mother to some of the most influential monarchs Europe ever saw. But her journey to becoming queen was not simple. It was filled with dangerous court politics, mysterious deaths, bold decisions, and a personality so strong that even kings felt threatened by her. This is the rise of Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of medieval Europe's most extraordinary queens. Eleanor was born around the year 1122 in the region of Aquitaine, a vast and rich duchy in what is now southwestern France. Aquitaine was no ordinary land. It was one of the richest cultural centers of medieval Europe. Music, poetry, philosophy, and love songs flourished here. It was a land where troubadours wandered through castles singing about romance and adventure. This environment shaped Eleanor from childhood. Unlike most medieval girls who grew up learning silence and obedience, Eleanor grew up around music, debate, and intellectual freedom. Her father, Duke William X of Aquitaine, was powerful and respected. He understood that Eleanor was different, sharp-minded, confident, and naturally charismatic. Even as a child, she drew attention. People admired her intelligence, her beauty, and her fearless nature. William made sure she received an education that rivaled that of princes. She learned literature, diplomacy, languages, and political strategy, unusual for medieval noblewomen. But Eleanor's life took a dramatic turn when she was still a teenager. Her mother and brother died first. Then, when she was only 15, her father died during a pilgrimage. Suddenly, the young girl inherited the entire duchy of Aquitaine. Overnight, Eleanor became one of the most desirable and powerful women in Europe. And with great power came great danger. Her father knew powerful lords would try to kidnap her to steal her lands. So before dying, he made an extraordinary decision. He left her guardianship in the hands of the King of France, Louis VI. The king immediately understood the value of this inheritance, and he had a plan. Within hours of becoming her guardian, King Louis VI arranged Eleanor's marriage to his son, Prince Louis. The marriage served one purpose: to unite Aquitaine with France and expand the power of the French crown. Eleanor, just 15, was suddenly married to a prince who had previously been destined for the church. Prince Louis was gentle, quiet, and deeply religious. Eleanor, on the other hand, was passionate, decisive, and politically ambitious. Their personalities clashed immediately. But the wedding made her Queen of France, one of the most powerful women in Europe. This should have been the moment when her influence grew. But life in the French court was nothing like Aquitaine. The Parisian court was cold, strict, and controlled by monks and advisors who believed that women should remain silent. Eleanor's free spirit shocked everyone. She wore elegant dresses, encouraged music and poetry, and spoke openly in political discussions. Many bishops and nobles whispered that the new queen was too bold and too independent. Still, Eleanor tried to adapt, but soon France was thrown into chaos. In 1147, the Second Crusade began. King Louis decided to join,
and Eleanor insisted on accompanying him, not as a passive queen, but as a leader. This created a scandal. A queen leading warriors? It was unheard of. But Eleanor was determined. She gathered knights from Aquitaine, known for their skill and loyalty, and marched with the army. Along the journey, rumors spread. Eleanor was accused of being too independent, too influential, even too disruptive. The church disliked her presence. Some even blamed her for strategic failures, though she had no command authority. But her greatest challenge came during the journey through the Byzantine Empire and Syria. The crusade ended in disaster, and so did Eleanor's marriage. She and the king fought constantly, over politics, over leadership, over everything. The love and respect between them were gone. When they returned to France, Eleanor demanded an annulment, and in 1152, the marriage was dissolved. She had no sons with Louis, so the French crown let her go. But they didn't realize what would happen next. Just 8 weeks after her annulment, Eleanor married Henry Plantagenet, the future King Henry II of England. This marriage shocked Europe. Henry was young, fiery, brilliant, and ambitious, everything King Louis was not. Their alliance created a powerful empire known as the Angevin Empire, stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees. Now Eleanor became Queen of England, and her influence grew even more. As queen, she helped manage territories, negotiate alliances, and shape policies. She supported the arts, introduced Aquitaine's culture to England, and worked closely with Henry to strengthen their empire. But their relationship, like all powerful alliances, would soon face conflict.
When Eleanor married Henry Plantagenet in 1152, she did more than choose a husband. She chose a future king who would reshape Europe, and she would stand beside him as its most influential queen. In 1154, Henry became King Henry II of England, and Eleanor became the queen of a vast empire stretching across Western Europe. The couple brought together territories so large and powerful that the French king trembled at their combined strength. The marriage united England, Normandy, Anjou, and Aquitaine under one rule. This massive political fusion was the foundation of the Angevin Empire, one of the most dominant powers of the 12th century. Eleanor was not a silent partner. She ruled Aquitaine directly, managing courts, collecting taxes, resolving disputes, and commanding loyalty from her vassals. Her court in Poitiers became famous for its culture, music, and poetry. Scholars, philosophers, and troubadours gathered there, celebrating art and ideas. Eleanor transformed her duchy into a center of medieval culture. But ruling an empire was never easy. Henry was restless and unstoppable, always on the move, always fighting wars, always trying to gain more territory. Eleanor, strong-minded and independent, wanted a voice equal to his. They were both powerful personalities, and that made their marriage both dynamic and explosive. At first, Eleanor and Henry's marriage burned with passion. They admired each other's intelligence, ambition, and strength. Together they had 8 children, 5 sons and 3 daughters, many of whom would go on to shape European history. But the same fire that created their empire soon turned against them. Henry was stubborn, demanding, and prone to anger. He expected obedience from everyone, including his queen. Eleanor, however, refused to be silent. She spoke her mind openly, challenged his decisions, and ruled her own lands independently. Henry saw this as a threat. The marriage began to fracture.
Henry spent more and more time away from Eleanor, buried in politics and military campaigns. Rumors of Henry's affair spread, and the tension between them grew. Eleanor returned to Aquitaine and began ruling from there instead of England. Their distance, both emotional and physical, created weaknesses in the empire. But the true storm came from their own children. Eleanor's sons were raised to be kings, warriors, and rulers. Henry the young king, the eldest, was crowned during Henry II's lifetime. Richard, later known as Richard the Lionheart, was strong, fearless, and fiercely loyal to his mother. Geoffrey, intelligent and politically sharp, inherited his father's strategic mind. John, the youngest, was unpredictable and often jealous of his brothers. King Henry II controlled everything, giving his sons titles but no real power. They grew resentful, especially Henry the young king. Their frustrations eventually exploded into rebellion. But this rebellion had a secret force behind it: Eleanor of Aquitaine. She believed her sons deserved real authority, and she had grown tired of Henry's attempts to control her duchy and strip away her political independence. When her sons rose against their father in 1173, Eleanor supported them, offering political strategy and influence. To Henry, this was a deep betrayal, not only from his sons, but from his queen. And he responded with ruthless anger. In 1173, Henry ordered Eleanor's arrest. She was seized while traveling through Aquitaine, disguised as a man, attempting to join her sons. For the next 16 years, Eleanor was kept under house arrest in various castles across England. 16 long years. During this time, Henry tightly controlled her communications, her movements, even her attendance. She was allowed no political power and lived under constant watch. But the world did not forget her. Her sons, especially Richard, remained devoted to her. The nobles of Aquitaine still saw her as their rightful duchess, and even the church and chroniclers of the time recorded her imprisonment with shock. No queen of her status had ever been confined for so long. Yet Eleanor did not break. She waited, she watched, and she prepared for the day she would rise again. That day came in 1189, when Henry II died, exhausted and defeated by the very sons he tried to control. Richard the Lionheart became king. The new king's first act? He ordered his mother's release. After 16 years in confinement, Eleanor emerged not as a frail prisoner, but as a powerful queen reborn. She rode at the head of the royal procession, welcomed by crowds who celebrated her freedom. Richard trusted his mother more than anyone. While he prepared to leave for the Third Crusade, he placed England in Eleanor's hands. She became the effective ruler of the realm, managing politics, collecting taxes, resolving disputes, and commanding loyalty from her vassals. Even in her late 60s, Eleanor rode across England and France to raise money for Richard's crusade. When Richard was captured on his return, Eleanor traveled across Europe negotiating his ransom. Her determination and diplomatic skill saved her son and restored stability to the kingdom. Richard died in 1199, and Eleanor, now nearly 80 years old, helped secure the throne for her youngest son, John. Despite his flaws, Eleanor protected the dynasty she had helped build.
After her release, Eleanor's influence extended far beyond her son's crowns. She had lived a life few could imagine. A duchess at 15, Queen of France, Queen of England, rebel, prisoner, and finally the matriarch of the Angevin dynasty. Her court in Poitiers continued to be a hub of culture. Eleanor encouraged poets, troubadours, and scholars, transforming her duchy into a center of learning and arts. She introduced the courtly love tradition that would influence European literature for centuries. The stories of knights, romance, and noble chivalry that came from her court still echo in medieval literature today. Eleanor was also a master diplomat. She negotiated treaties, mediated disputes between her children, and even corresponded with kings and emperors across Europe. Unlike many queens of the time, she was not content with ceremonial duties. She actively shaped the politics of the continent. Eleanor's influence reached beyond Europe. During the Third Crusade, her son, Richard the Lionheart, left for the Holy Land. Eleanor remained in England and Aquitaine, managing both the empire and preparations for her son's army. When Richard was captured and imprisoned in Austria on his return journey, Eleanor sprang into action. She traveled across France, Germany, and England, raising enormous sums of money for his ransom. It is said that she negotiated with kings and nobles, sometimes with cunning and charm, other times with authority and force. Her actions not only secured Richard's freedom, but also demonstrated her political genius. Eleanor showed the world that queens could wield power as effectively as kings, even in the harshest circumstances. Eleanor's children grew to be some of the most famous figures in medieval Europe. Richard I, the Lionheart, a legendary warrior king who led the Third Crusade. John of England, known for signing the Magna Carta, though often considered weaker than his father. Geoffrey, a politically clever son who inherited Brittany. Henry the Young King, crowned during his father's lifetime, but died before ruling independently. Eleanor ensured that her children were not only heirs, but capable rulers. She mediated disputes, advised on alliances, and even led rebellions to secure their inheritance. Her influence was so strong that even in old age, Eleanor's counsel shaped the decisions of kings and princes across Europe. Despite her successes, Eleanor's life was filled with trials. She outlived 3 husbands, witnessed her children fight each other, and endured years of imprisonment. But these struggles only strengthened her resolve. Her ability to navigate the dangerous world of medieval politics, filled with ambition, betrayal, and violence, was unmatched. Many chroniclers of the time described her as a woman of unparalleled intelligence, courage, and determination. Unlike most medieval queens, Eleanor left a personal mark on history. Her story was recorded by poets, scholars, and even the church. She became a symbol of female power, resilience, and independence. Eleanor's court at Poitiers became the inspiration for the Romantic literature of the High Middle Ages. Poets celebrated love, chivalry, and heroism, creating a literary tradition that would influence Europe for generations. She was also a patron of the arts, music, and education. Eleanor understood that culture and politics were intertwined. Art could inspire loyalty, strengthen alliances, and enhance her prestige. Her impact was so enduring that even centuries later, historians describe her as a queen who transformed medieval Europe, not just through power, but through culture and ideas. In her final years, Eleanor continued to guide her family and kingdom. She lived to see her grandchildren, witnessing the next generation of rulers take their place in Europe's complex political landscape. Eleanor died in 1204, at nearly 82 years old,
a remarkable age for the medieval era. She was buried at Fontevraud Abbey, beside her husband, Henry II, and son Richard. Her tomb became a symbol of her extraordinary life, a reminder of a woman who defied the expectations of her time. Eleanor of Aquitaine's life teaches us that power is not limited to kings and men. She demonstrated courage, intelligence, and strategic thinking. She reshaped Europe, raised influential heirs, and left a cultural and political legacy that endures. From a young duchess to a powerful queen, a prisoner to a masterful matriarch, Eleanor's story is a testament to resilience, ambition, and influence. She proved that a determined woman could navigate the treacherous world of medieval politics and leave an indelible mark on history.
Eleanor of Aquitaine was more than a queen. She was a strategist, a diplomat, and a leader. In medieval Europe, where power often depended on land, marriage, and military strength, Eleanor mastered every tool at her disposal. Her control over Aquitaine, one of the wealthiest regions in Europe, gave her enormous influence. She used this power to form alliances, negotiate with kings, and protect her children's claims. Even when imprisoned by Henry II, her authority could not be fully diminished. Her knowledge of politics, law, and diplomacy allowed her to maintain networks that eventually restored her influence. Eleanor's genius was in understanding people. She knew who to trust, when to negotiate, and when to act decisively. Her court became a model of political and cultural sophistication that many European rulers sought to emulate. Eleanor's sons, Henry the Young King, Richard, Geoffrey, and John, were ambitious, talented, and often rebellious. Eleanor's support during the 1173–74 rebellion against Henry II showcased her cunning and courage. She did not act recklessly. She coordinated strategies, secured alliances, and even encouraged her sons to claim authority they rightfully deserved. This bold decision, however, came at a cost: her imprisonment for 16 years. Yet, her actions were vindicated in the long run. Her sons gained experience, political knowledge, and eventually took their places as rulers of Europe, guided by their mother's wisdom. Richard I, known as Richard the Lionheart, inherited not only the throne of England, but also his mother's boldness. Eleanor's influence over him was profound. She advised him, prepared him for leadership, and guided him during critical moments, including the Third Crusade. While Richard was away in the Holy Land, Eleanor effectively ruled England. She collected taxes, enforced justice, and maintained loyalty among nobles. Her political acumen ensured that the kingdom remained stable despite the absence of its king. Eleanor's partnership with Richard highlights a unique dynamic in medieval history: a queen exercising authority alongside and sometimes independently of her son-king. Eleanor's impact on European culture was immense. Her court in Poitiers became a center for troubadours, poets, and scholars, fostering the tradition of courtly love. She encouraged artistic expression, the celebration of chivalry, and the refinement of noble manners. Through her patronage, Eleanor ensured that Aquitaine's cultural heritage spread across Europe. The themes of love, honor, and loyalty, popularized in her court, became staples of medieval literature, inspiring generations of writers and artists. Her influence in culture demonstrates that her power extended beyond politics. She shaped the ideas and values of medieval Europe itself. After Richard's death in 1199, Eleanor remained a guiding figure in European politics.
She managed the succession of her youngest son, John, and ensured the stability of the Angevin dynasty. Even in her 70s, she actively participated in negotiations, military preparations, and diplomacy. She defied expectations of elderly medieval women by remaining engaged in political life until her death. Eleanor's legacy is not only in the lands she ruled or the children she raised, but also in the way she redefined what it meant to be a queen. She showed that women could wield authority, shape politics, and leave a lasting cultural imprint. Eleanor died in 1204 at Fontevraud Abbey, surrounded by the legacy she had built over 80 years. Her life spanned dramatic shifts in European politics, from the Crusades to the rise of powerful kingdoms. Chroniclers remembered her as intelligent, bold, and politically savvy. Poets and writers immortalized her in stories of love, courage, and rebellion. Her life became a model for queens and noblewomen across Europe, inspiring both admiration and respect. Eleanor of Aquitaine remains one of the most remarkable women of the medieval era, a queen whose life was as dramatic as the history she helped shape. Courage and adversity. Eleanor endured imprisonment, rebellion, and political tension, yet never surrendered her influence. Strategic mind. She understood diplomacy, alliances, and the importance of cultural power. Independent leadership. Eleanor ruled her own duchy, guided her children, and managed kingdoms in her son's absence. Cultural patronage. Her promotion of arts, poetry, and courtly love left a permanent mark on European culture. Resilient legacy. Eleanor's story demonstrates that determination and intelligence can transcend gender, age, and political challenges.
Eleanor of Aquitaine's influence extended far beyond England and Aquitaine. Through her marriage alliances and strategic negotiations, she shaped European politics. She corresponded with kings, emperors, and nobles across France, Spain, and the Holy Roman Empire. Even as a mother, she ensured her children were positioned to succeed, using diplomacy to secure territories and alliances. Her political acumen was widely recognized, and her opinions carried weight even among the most powerful rulers. Eleanor's skill in navigating complex political networks demonstrates that she was not merely a passive queen, she was a master of European power dynamics. The rebellion of 1173 to 1174 against Henry II was one of Eleanor's boldest acts. She sided with her sons, especially Henry the Young King and Richard, to challenge their father's authority. Her support included political advice, funding, and mobilization of loyal nobles. She carefully coordinated the rebellion to maximize its impact while minimizing direct danger to herself. Although Henry II responded with harsh imprisonment, Eleanor's actions secured the future influence of her children and strengthened the Angevin dynasty in the long term. This period demonstrated Eleanor's willingness to take risks for her family and her enduring commitment to political strategy. When Richard the Lionheart departed for the Third Crusade, Eleanor became the de facto ruler of England. She collected taxes, enforced laws, and maintained political stability while overseeing her son's territories in France. Her governance was widely respected. Nobles, clergy, and commoners recognized her authority and competence. She demonstrated that a queen could wield power independently of her husband or son, a remarkable achievement in medieval Europe. During this time, Eleanor negotiated with rebellious nobles, prevented uprisings, and prepared for Richard's safe return, a testament to her extraordinary leadership. Eleanor's court in Poitiers remained a center of culture and learning throughout her life. She promoted literature,
poetry, and music, encouraging the troubadours who celebrated chivalry and courtly love. Her patronage had long-term effects on European culture. The literary and artistic traditions she nurtured spread across France, England, and beyond. Eleanor understood that soft power, the influence of culture and ideas, was as vital as military and political strength. She also set a precedent for queens as patrons of the arts, inspiring future generations to use their positions to foster creativity and learning. Although Eleanor did not personally participate in the Crusades after her youth, her influence was pivotal. During Richard's campaigns in the Holy Land, Eleanor managed logistics, raised funds, and ensured political stability at home. When Richard was captured on his return journey, Eleanor orchestrated his release, negotiating with European rulers and securing the enormous ransom required. Her efforts exemplify her political ingenuity and dedication to her family and kingdom. Through these actions, Eleanor shaped not only English history, but also the broader European narrative of the Crusades. Eleanor's children were central figures in medieval Europe, and her guidance shaped their reigns. She advised Richard, supported John, and mediated disputes among her sons. Even in old age, Eleanor remained politically active, using her experience and wisdom to protect her family's legacy. She was a mother, strategist, and advisor, a true matriarch whose influence extended well beyond her own lifetime. Her ability to combine familial care with political strategy was extraordinary, making her one of the most influential women of her era. Eleanor of Aquitaine's life demonstrates the power of intelligence, courage, and strategic thinking. She influenced kingdoms, nurtured culture, guided her children, and survived immense personal and political challenges. Her story is remembered in chronicles, literature, and historical studies. Eleanor remains a symbol of female authority, resilience, and vision. A queen whose life reshaped the medieval world and left a legacy that endures today.
Eleanor of Aquitaine lived a life that defied the expectations of medieval women. In a society where queens were often expected to be passive, Eleanor was bold, decisive, and politically active. She ruled her own duchy, advised her sons and kings, and even led armies indirectly through her influence. Her life demonstrates that medieval queens could possess extraordinary agency. Eleanor's story challenges common perceptions of gender roles in the Middle Ages and shows the impact a single determined woman could have on history. The Angevin Empire, stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees, was a product of Eleanor's political alliances and influence. She brought Aquitaine to England through marriage, strengthened her children's positions, and ensured cultural cohesion across her territories. Her role was crucial. She managed lands, negotiated disputes, and fostered loyalty among vassals. Her guidance helped maintain one of the most powerful empires of medieval Europe, even during periods of rebellion and conflict. Eleanor's life was marked by rebellion, from her support of her sons against Henry II to her negotiation of power and autonomy in Aquitaine. She endured imprisonment and exile, yet she never surrendered her influence or voice. Her resilience is a defining feature of her story. Eleanor faced personal and political obstacles that would have crushed most people, yet she emerged stronger, shaping the destiny of her family and the course of European history. Eleanor's cultural contributions are a major part of her legacy. She fostered literature, poetry, music, and the tradition of courtly love. Her court at Poitiers became legendary for its intellectual vibrancy, influencing European culture for generations. Through her patronage, Eleanor demonstrated that culture and politics were intertwined. Artistic and literary endeavors became instruments of influence, loyalty, and prestige, reflecting her sophisticated understanding of power. In her later years, Eleanor focused on securing her family's legacy. She oversaw the succession of John, mediated disputes among her grandchildren, and maintained stability in her territories. Even in her 70s and 80s, Eleanor remained politically active. She demonstrated that age and gender were not barriers to leadership and influence, leaving a model for future queens to emulate. Eleanor died in 1204, nearly 82 years old, a remarkable lifespan for medieval times. She was buried at Fontevraud Abbey, alongside Henry II and Richard the Lionheart, symbolizing her central role in the Angevin dynasty. Her tomb became a site of memory and reverence. Chroniclers, poets, and historians recorded her achievements, ensuring her story would endure for centuries. Eleanor's life was celebrated as a model of intelligence, courage, and influence. Eleanor of Aquitaine left a legacy that shaped European history and culture. Political influence, she guided kings, governed lands, and negotiated across Europe. Cultural patronage, she promoted literature, poetry, music, and courtly love. Family leadership, she secured her children's positions and advised her descendants. Breaking gender norms, Eleanor challenged expectations of women, showing that queens could wield authority and power. Historical inspiration, her life inspired generations of historians, writers, and artists. Eleanor's story reminds us that history is not just about battles and crowns. It's about vision, resilience, and the enduring power of individuals who dared to shape their own destiny. Eleanor of Aquitaine's life spanned dramatic events, the Crusades, dynastic struggles, rebellions, and the expansion of empires. She was queen of two kingdoms, mother of kings, patron of hearts, and political strategist. Her life is a testament to ambition, resilience, and intelligence. In a world dominated by men, Eleanor carved her own path and ensured that her influence would endure long after her death. Today, historians, writers, and filmmakers continue to explore her story, recognizing Eleanor as one of the most extraordinary women of the Middle Ages, a queen whose legacy transcends centuries. Eleanor teaches timeless lessons: courage and boldness, face challenges head-on, even against powerful adversaries. Strategic thinking, understand the landscape, political, cultural, and personal, to make informed decisions. Resilience, overcome imprisonment, betrayal, and personal loss without losing purpose. Empowering others, nurture and guide those around you to create a lasting legacy. Cultural vision, recognize that art, literature, and ideas shape society as much as politics and war. Her story continues to inspire leaders, scholars, and women around the world. Eleanor of Aquitaine's journey from a young duchess in Aquitaine to the most powerful queen in medieval Europe is a story of ambition, courage, and brilliance. She navigated a male-dominated world, shaped empires, influenced culture, and left a legacy that continues to resonate. Her life reminds us that history is not just about battles and crowns. It's about vision, resilience, and the enduring power of individuals who dared to shape their own destiny. Eleanor of Aquitaine remains one of history's most extraordinary queens, a true testament to strength, intelligence, and lasting influence. Thank you for joining this journey through the life of Eleanor of Aquitaine. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more fascinating figures from history, make sure to subscribe to Boring Calm History. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an epic tale from the past. Stay curious, and remember, The past is never boring when you know the stories.